Breaking news tonight. Something is happening right now in our solar system that even seasoned astrophysicists are struggling to explain. An object, newly designated as 3I Atlas, has entered the inner solar system. At first glance, it was just another interstellar visitor, a third after Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019. But what has happened since October 29th has astronomers across the globe scrambling for answers. Because this thing isn't behaving like any natural object we've ever seen. It brightened fivefold in less than 72 hours, shifted to a deep blue hue, bluer than the sun, and appears to have manoeuvred, altering its course in a way that defies gravity. Yes, you heard that right. An object from outside our solar system might have changed its own trajectory. And the space agencies you rely on for transparency? NASA still hasn't released the close-up images taken by the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. Even Congress is asking questions. And by the end of this video, you'll see why. Because this might not be a comet, it might be something far more deliberate. If you're fascinated by interstellar mysteries and potential evidence of non-human intelligence, hit that like button and comment below where you're watching from, because the next few minutes could change the way you look at the stars. Zoom in on orbital map interface with real-time data overlays. Current position, November 2025, flashing. Let's start with what we know. The object was first catalogued in late August by the Atlas survey, the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System. It came from beyond our solar system, based on its extreme speed and hyperbolic trajectory, travelling over 150 kilometers per second, 3 times faster than any human-made spacecraft. On October 29th, it reached perihelion, its closest approach to the Sun. At about 203 million kilometers, it received intense solar radiation, roughly 770 watts per square meter. Now, normally, this is when a comet's tail erupts. Sublimating ice sprays outward, leaving a gorgeous tail behind. But 3I Atlas didn't grow a tail. Instead, it grew jets, 7 of them, erupting from its core like controlled thrusters. And then something even stranger happened. Between November 6th and 9th, multiple observatories, including the Virtual Telescope Project in Italy, a station in Las Vegas operated by the Galileo Project, and deep sky trackers from Chile and Hawaii, began reporting something no one expected. The object's brightness jumped 5 times, without a corresponding increase in mass loss. Not only that, its spectral colour shifted into the blue, radiating wavelengths shorter than the Sun's own photosphere. Now remember, the Sun's surface temperature is nearly 1800 Kelvin. For 3I Atlas to appear even bluer, it would need to be emitting extremely high-energy light. And that simply doesn't make sense for a cold, dusty object. Our comet is supposed to reflect sunlight, not outshine it in ultraviolet wavelengths. No natural comet becomes bluer than the Sun. Yet the instruments didn't lie. As Dr. Gianluca Marci of the Virtual Telescope Project described in a recent livestream, this is not your ordinary visitor. We are seeing dynamics that cannot be explained by outgassing alone. Cut to visual simulation using Sky Safari Stellarium, orbit path, plus colour change overlay. Let's talk trajectory. When you map 3I Atlas's course through the inner solar system using tools like Sky Safari or Stellarium, you'll see something remarkable. This object is not tumbling randomly like a rock. It's stabilised, its jets forming consistent patterns. It's following a near coplanar path, meaning it's travelling almost on the same plane as the planets. This is unusual. Most interstellar objects arrive at steep inclinations, swooping through our system like birds darting across traffic lanes. But 3I Atlas is driving in the lane, not across it, a nearly ecliptic trajectory. As if designed to do so. Coincidence? Let's add the next detail. On November 7th, 2025, in a now viral interview on Newsmax, Harvard astrophysicist Dr. Avi Loeb said it clearly. It manoeuvred. This was not a metaphor. Loeb, the founder of the Galileo Project and a former chair of Harvard's astronomy department, explained that the object's path deviated from gravitational expectations, subtly but measurably. The force required to account for that acceleration, roughly the equivalent of ejecting 5 billion tons of mass in the opposite direction, with no visible exhaust, no fragmentation, and no tail. Now, Loeb has been here before. He was the first to claim that Oumuamua's anomalous acceleration in 2017 wasn't natural either. But 3i Atlas is different. Where Oumuamua gave us only 11 days of observation, Atlas is still in view and headed closer to Earth, which brings us to the next point in the timeline. Dramatic slow zoom on digital calendar, December 19, 2025, highlighted in red. Mark this date, December 19th, 2025. That's when 3i Atlas will make its closest approach to Earth, just 6 days before Christmas. And during that time, dozens of ground-based observatories, as well as radio telescopes and planetary radar systems, will be watching every move it makes. According to Loeb and his team, this moment is critical. If 3i Atlas is a fragmenting comet, we'll see outbursts, maybe even breakup events. If it's a chunk of interstellar rock, we'll see consistent reflectivity and no internal activity. But if it's something else, we may see smaller objects released from it. We may detect radio signals, or we may witness another maneuver, one that confirms propulsion. And all of this will happen right before our eyes. Map overlay, Las Vegas, Washington, D.C., Harvard, Italy, flashing connections across the globe. This isn't just a scientific curiosity anymore, it's become a political issue. According to a recent congressional bulletin, Representative Anna Paulina Luna has publicly called on NASA to release high-resolution images taken by the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. Here's the timeline. On October 30th, the orbiter's high-rise camera had the right geometry to take optical images of 3i Atlas during perihelion. The data was captured, confirmed by planetary radar logs. But the images have not been released. Why not? NASA has cited processing delays and the need for further analysis before public disclosure. But members of Congress aren't buying it, especially after Loeb briefed staffers on Capitol Hill just days before the Newsmax interview. Something is happening behind the scenes. Meanwhile, back in the skies, the Las Vegas Galileo Observatory, part of Loeb's private network of skywatchers, has reported localized magnetic fluctuations near the object's predicted path. Now, to be clear, this is not conclusive. It could be sensor noise, urban interference, or solar-induced disruption. But when these readings correlate with observed brightening events and blue shift anomalies, the pattern becomes hard to ignore. Add to that the fact that the object is nickel-rich with low iron ratios, according to spectral analysis. This is not a typical comet composition. Nickel is dense, metallic, used in advanced alloys and aerospace materials. Combine that with the lack of volatiles. No tail, no icy coma. And what are we looking at? Some scientists now wonder, are we witnessing a metallic shell of some kind? Let's take a step back. You've probably heard of the wow signal. That strange 1977 radio burst from deep space that lasted 72 seconds and has never been repeated. Here's the eerie part. 3i Atlas entered the solar system within 9 degrees of the original wow signal origin point. Coincidence? Maybe. But when an object from interstellar space, travelling at 150 km/s, that manoeuvres, glows bluer than the sun, and is made of nickel, enters from the same region of sky as our most famous unexplained radio signal, you start to wonder, could it be connected? So let's sum up what we're watching unfold. In real time, a fast-moving interstellar object with no tail, 7 jets, arranged like thrusters, a massive brightening, a mysterious blue shift, non-gravitational acceleration, confirmed by one of the world's leading astrophysicists. An upcoming close Earth flyby on December 19th, and high-resolution NASA images we're still waiting to see. The object is real, the data is public, the silence is deafening. And now, with each passing day, 3i Atlas draws closer. So what happens next? That depends on what this object actually is. Because right now, scientists are split. There are 4 leading theories. It's a comet with unusual volatile activity. It's a fragmented asteroid, metallic, tumbling, odd but natural. It's a technological probe, maneuvering, silent, observing. It's a cluster of objects possibly under coordinated movement. Each of these has major implications, and in part 2, we'll break down each theory. with visuals, expert testimony, and what to expect as we approach December 19th. So what do you think? Is 3i Atlas just a rock, or is it something more? If you want to follow this story as it unfolds, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We'll be covering every new image, every expert reaction, and what this might mean for the future of astronomy and humanity, especially after December 19th, when we'll finally see whether 3i Atlas is just passing by or arriving. Leave a comment below. Do you think it's manoeuvring? And if so, why? I read every comment, and I'd love to know what you think. We'll see you in part 2, where the theories begin. Welcome back. In part 1, we explored the stunning data. A mysterious interstellar object, manoeuvring without propulsion, changing colour, exhibiting jet-like features. Headed directly toward a close Earth flyby on December 19th, 2025. But now it's time to confront the question everyone's asking. What exactly is 3i Atlas? Because depending on who you ask, it's either a rare natural object, a failed asteroid, a controlled probe, or something we've never even considered. So let's examine each theory. Let's begin with the most conventional explanation. Some astronomers, including those from the European Space Agency, ESA, and early NASA reports, maintain that 3i Atlas is a hyperactive comet exhibiting volatile outgassing near the Sun. Their reasoning: it brightened dramatically after perihelion, the closest point to the Sun, typical of comet behaviour. It expelled material in 7 jet-like formations. A known, though rare feature in comets like Comet Hartley 2, the absence of a tail might be due to solar wind direction or localised magnetic interference. However, that doesn't explain the blue colour shift, which has no precedent in cometary behaviour, nor does it explain why the object's acceleration occurs in the absence of measurable outgassing mass, as Dr. Gianluca Massi pointed out during a November 10th livestream. This is not outgassing in the classical sense. It behaves too cleanly, almost as if the emissions are focused, like propulsion. Comet-like? Yes, but not comet-confirmed. Theory 2 suggests this is not an active object at all, but a solid, metallic fragment drifting through space, shaped by its chaotic past. Spectral analysis reveals a nickel-rich surface with a low iron content, highly unusual compared to solar system asteroids. Nickel is dense, nickel is heavy. And nickel doesn't typically show up in comets. According to JPL's database, the mass of the object would make it one of the largest interstellar fragments ever recorded, between 4 and 5 kilometres in diameter. Its lack of tail could indicate complete devolatilization, meaning all icy elements were stripped millions of years ago. Its brightness may come from reflectivity, not activity. But that still leaves a critical problem. If it's a solid, dead object, how did it maneuver? Even the slightest deviation in path at this speed, over 150 km/h, implies a force applied. So if it's not actively ejecting gas, what did that? This is where the mystery deepens, and the controversy begins. Dr. Avi Loeb believes that the behaviour of 3i Atlas resembles something non-natural. In his words, a rock doesn't navigate, it doesn't adjust its trajectory. Something else is at play. Loeb points to the object's non-gravitational acceleration, its ecliptic-aligned trajectory, and the 7 symmetrical jets, comparing them to steering nozzles. Here's the visual. Imagine a drone using directed thrust. Not visible combustion, but targeted air pressure. Now imagine that in space, using mass ejection too small to detect, but effective enough to steer a 5 kilometers wide object. What's more, the shift to ultraviolet wavelengths and the timing of the colour change, exactly when the object emerged from solar interference, suggest intentional shielding or system activation. Loeb proposes this could be part of a long-dead probe, still releasing heat or undergoing passive course correction, as old technology might. Like Voyager 1, but from another star, a deep space relic, or a long-haul drone, not transmitting, just passing through. Now for the strangest theory yet, and it's gaining traction in underground science circles. What if 3i Atlas isn't one object, but multiple objects moving as a unit? Some frames from the Virtual Telescope Project's imagery show mild pixel bifurcation, tiny ghost shadows next to the core object, While officially dismissed as lens diffraction, some independent astronomers believe we might be seeing a clustered formation, a tight pack of smaller structures, maintaining close proximity, like satellites in controlled orbital ballet. This could explain the mysterious jets seen in 7 directions, the unusual reflectivity pattern, which varies at sharp intervals, the localized gravitational signature, recorded as a dip near Venus's L2 point during the object's pass. Though highly speculative, this theory echoes concepts from advanced spacecraft design, modular vehicles that disperse upon arrival or use proximity-based field management. If true, it would suggest a level of coordination beyond any known human tech. Let's return to what we can see. If you use Stellarium or Skylive and input November 24, 2025, you'll find 3i Atlas, just east of Virgo, following a smooth arc through the plane of the ecliptic. Its position mimics the motion of planets, not typical interstellar behaviour. Compare this to Borisov in 2019, which shot across our system at a sharp angle. 3i Atlas glides. On December 3rd, it enters the region of Scorpius, giving amateur astronomers in the southern hemisphere a clear view. Then by December 19th, it will be at its closest point to Earth, just over 50 million kilometres away. Every telescope from ALMA in Chile to the Keck Observatory in Hawaii is being queued for that week. Some are calling it the Christmas flyby. Others, the arrival window. Let's examine how the major players are reacting. NASA confirmed object trajectory and brightness via JPL's Horizons database, but has not released orbital close-ups from HiRISE. ESA issued a preliminary report labelling the object atypical cometary body, but warned spectral anomalies require further review. Harvard Galileo Project, actively collecting independent observations via ground stations in Nevada, Chile, and Italy. Congress. Representative Anna Paulina Luna pressed NASA for transparency during the November 12th oversight hearing. China and India's space agencies have remained silent, despite reportedly having data from their lunar-based sensors. And that silence only fuels the mystery. Everything converges on one date. December 19th. That's when 3i Atlas will pass near Earth, giving us the best chance to observe. Whether it fragments, whether it emits new jets, whether smaller objects are released, or whether it maneuvers again, astronomers will be using planetary radar to detect surface features, infrared telescopes to search for heat signatures, polarization filters to study reflected light. If any of these show unnatural symmetry, if we detect even a whisper of radio signal, then we may be looking at the first confirmed interstellar artifact with evidence of intent, and that changes everything. There's one more variable. The Allen Telescope Array, once used in the SETI program, is now partially reactivated for passive scanning during the flyby. While no signals have been confirmed, the system is listening, as is the Galileo project, using narrowband spectrum scanning during moments of peak proximity. Why? Because we've been here before. Remember, Oumuamua passed without a peep. But what if this time the object is meant to be observed? What if this isn't a message to receive, but a presence to witness? So here's the breakdown. 3i Atlas is a confirmed interstellar object. It shows behaviour we've never seen in nature. It could be cometary, metallic, technological, or coordinated, and its closest approach is just weeks away. In part 3, we'll go deeper. We'll explore NASA's silence, the politics behind the cover-up, and why certain images are still classified, even as the object approaches. So make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because by December 19th, this story could become the most important space event of the decade. Leave a comment below. Which theory do you believe? Natural fragment, comet, or probe? We'll be, watching the skies. And in part 3, we start watching the watchers. As we continue to track 3i Atlas, a deeper question emerges. Why are NASA and other space agencies remaining so quiet about this interstellar object? What's at stake here? And why are some critical images still under wraps? This isn't just a mystery of science, it's becoming a mystery of power. Today we'll explore the political undercurrents that surround 3i Atlas. From congressional hearings to classified NASA images, the silence surrounding this object is now part of a larger, darker story. So what's really going on? Let's break it down. It all started on October 30th, 2025, when the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, MRO, captured high-resolution images of 3I Atlas during its perihelion passage, images that would have provided unprecedented clarity. But then something strange happened. Despite confirming the data, NASA issued a statement. We are still processing the images and need further time for analysis. At first, this sounded routine. After all, space agencies deal with enormous amounts of data every day. But here's the problem. NASA has a long history of releasing close-up images of objects like asteroids and comets, even when they're not exactly exciting. But these images of an interstellar object behaving in ways completely unexplained by physics are still not available. Why? Is it that the images simply need more time to analyse? Or is there something in these images that NASA is unwilling to reveal just yet? Here's the thing. The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has provided detailed images of Mars itself, yet we still don't have high-resolution images of 3I Atlas, an object headed directly toward Earth. This delay in transparency hasn't gone unnoticed. In fact, it's becoming a political issue. US Representative Anna Paulina Luna, a vocal advocate for transparency, has raised alarm. In a November 12th congressional hearing, Luna demanded that NASA release the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter images. What are we waiting for? She asked. These images are already captured. Why keep the American public in the dark? While NASA claims they're simply conducting due diligence, Luna isn't the only one questioning the delay. In a scathing statement, Senator Marco Rubio also called for immediate release, saying, "The public has the right to know what's happening with this object. For too long, space agencies have played it safe. This is different. We need answers now." It's clear that the pressure is mounting. Politicians are demanding accountability, and the space community is under fire. So why the silence? Is NASA hiding something, or is there a bigger reason for this cover-up? Consider this. If 3I Atlas is indeed some form of alien technology, or if it's simply not a natural object, releasing such information could have massive implications. The global scientific community is not prepared to deal with the fallout, and while some might argue that a cover-up's far-fetched, you have to ask, what would happen if the truth came out? That this is something other than a comet? Would society be ready? Would it change the way we think about our place in the universe? We saw the reaction to the wow signal in 1977, a small radio burst that led to years of scientific speculation. Imagine the reaction to the first confirmed interstellar artifact that defies the laws of physics. The world's governments, including NASA, are now caught between transparency and secrecy. And as 3I Atlas gets closer to Earth, that choice is becoming more urgent. While government agencies have been cautious, Dr. Avi Loeb and his Galileo project have been working tirelessly to track 3I Atlas. Loeb, the Harvard astrophysicist who famously challenged mainstream scientific opinion on Oumuamua, is leading the charge to observe and analyse the object. Using a network of ground-based telescopes, including the Las Vegas Galileo Observatory, Loeb and his team are gathering real-time data, bypassing the delays of governmental agencies. In fact, Loeb was the first to report that 3I Atlas had manoeuvred, an observation that NASA had not yet confirmed publicly. Loeb's conclusions are controversial. He's confident that 3I Atlas is not a simple comet or asteroid. It's too controlled, too precise. And he's taking this fight to the public. Loeb's Galileo project has launched a global campaign for greater transparency in space research, calling for more data sharing, faster release of images, and open source analysis. He's accused NASA and other space agencies of deliberately withholding information. Is Loeb right to call out NASA? And if 3I Atlas is being tracked by private organisations, does that mean that something more is at play here? What Loeb's Galileo project has been able to observe is staggering. From their Las Vegas observatory, they've recorded rapid acceleration of 3I Atlas, confirming that the object is indeed changing its path in ways that no comet or asteroid would naturally. But what's more startling is their spectral analysis. The object's colour shift to bluer wavelengths is not a typical cometary behaviour, and Loeb is convinced that this is indicative of artificial materials or propulsion systems working from inside the object. According to Galileo project research, there's a clear magnetic field anomaly surrounding 3I Atlas. This suggests that internal mechanisms could be creating magnetic disturbances, a typical sign of technological interference. In short, the data doesn't match the profile of a comet. What does all this mean for the scientific community and the future of space exploration? For decades, we've been conditioned to think of interstellar objects like Oumuamua and Borisov as anomalous but natural. But 3I Atlas, it's different. It doesn't just break the rules, it creates new ones. And that's why the cover-up could be far more significant than we ever imagined. If 3I Atlas turns out to be a probe or part of an interstellar mission, it opens up entirely new avenues of scientific inquiry, but also new political and societal challenges. Are we ready to accept that we might not be the only intelligent beings in the cosmos? Are governments prepared to reveal what they know? Or will this be the biggest space cover-up in history? As we approach December 19th, the stakes couldn't be higher. On this date, 3I Atlas will make its closest pass by Earth, and the world will be watching. Will we see it fragment? Will it release new jets of gas? Or will it reveal something else? Something even stranger? One thing's for sure, the pressure on space agencies like NASA, ESA, and Loeb's Galileo project is mounting. The world is about to learn what 3I Atlas is really made of, and whether it's a natural phenomenon, an alien relic, or something far more unexpected. Stay tuned, because in Part 4, we'll break down what might happen during the December flyby, and what experts think the aftermath could mean for the future of space exploration. If you want to stay updated on this rapidly developing story, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We'll be covering every new image, every new discovery, and analysing the implications of 3I Atlas as it approaches Earth. Leave a comment below. What do you think this object is? Are we being visited? Or is it just another strange rock passing through our neighbourhood? I'll be back with more updates as soon as we know more. Thanks for watching, and stay curious. The day has arrived, December 19th, 2025. For months, astronomers, scientists, and conspiracy theorists alike have been watching the skies, waiting for this moment, the closest approach of 3I Atlas to Earth. And today we'll finally get the answers, or perhaps more questions, because what we discover about 3I Atlas may not only change astrophysics, but challenge our very understanding of the universe. As the clock ticked down to 9 AM UTC, a flurry of activity unfolded across observatories and space agencies worldwide. Telescope arrays, radar systems, and even the Hubble Space Telescope itself were directed at 3I Atlas, waiting to capture every fleeting moment of its flyby. The first high-resolution images came in from the Virtual Telescope project in Italy, showcasing the object in stunning clarity. What did these new images show? The fuzzy core, previously visible only as a blur, now displayed a distinct shape, spherical with sharply defined edges. The 7 jets were visible once more, but this time they seemed more symmetrical, as if intentionally directed outward. As the object sped past Earth at 150 km/s, there was no question. This was not a natural phenomenon. Dr. Avi Loeb, who has been tracking the object through his Galileo project, confirmed something shocking. The object did in fact maneuver once more during its pass by Earth. This suggests that we're not just looking at a rock in space, we're looking at something capable of controlling its own trajectory. The movement was subtle, but undeniable. At around 12 UTC, when the object was just 45 million kilometers from Earth, the jet emissions seemed to shift direction. Not randomly, but in a way that suggested deliberate course correction. In real time, radar imaging confirmed that 3I Atlas was not following a strictly gravitational path as expected. Instead, it altered its course as if steered by an unseen force. But here's where the mystery deepens. As infrared telescopes and radar systems continued to scan, they reported something that had not been anticipated: possible fragmentation. Small, microscopic fragments were detected near the object's tail, but not cometary debris, as would be expected. Instead, they were shiny metallic particles, likely the result of internal processing. This raises a terrifying question. Could 3I Atlas actually be shedding parts of itself? Not naturally, but by design. Were these fragments discarded deliberately, as part of a larger plan? This is where things get complicated. While Dr. Loeb and his Galileo project insist this behaviour is indicative of alien technology, the mainstream scientific community remains divided. At NASA JPL, scientists are still calling 3I Atlas an interstellar comet, despite the growing evidence of controlled behaviour. Their stance: they believe the observed jets might be the result of volcanic ice outgassing or magnetic interactions with solar radiation. But if that were the case, then why does the object's acceleration defy the laws of physics? Why would a comet, which shouldn't be propelled in such a manner, manoeuvre without any visible propulsion? Here's what we know for certain. 3I Atlas is accelerating unnaturally. It is maintaining a trajectory that's not typical of a comet, asteroid, or natural object. It is shifting colour from the expected yellow-red hues to blue, an uncharacteristic feature for most space objects. And with each new piece of data, we're left with the same question. What if 3I Atlas is not a comet at all? Loeb has been unwavering in his belief that 3I Atlas could be a technological probe, a mission from an intelligent species. Here's his logic. The object's smooth trajectory, like a craft navigating through the solar system. The lack of a cometary tail, but the presence of controlled jets. The blue colour shift, signalling high-energy materials. And the fact that it doesn't behave like any known comet. What if 3I Atlas isn't just passing by Earth? What if it's watching us, like a scientific expedition, an alien probe on its way to study our solar system? The idea is bold, but the evidence is mounting. Loeb has said, it's not just the object's composition, it's its behaviour that sets it apart. It's as if it's intentionally showing us something, or maybe testing us. Perhaps Loeb suggests 3I Atlas is a sentient presence, observing our world. Could this be an interstellar beacon, designed to attract attention? Or is it just a harbinger of future contact? The political ramifications of this discovery cannot be understated. On December 5th, in a congressional briefing, Representative Anna Paulina Luna demanded that NASA provide clear answers regarding the object's origins. She stated, "The American public has the right to know if this object is a potential threat, or if it's a signal that we're not alone in the universe." Luna's call for transparency has caught the attention of several senators and international leaders who are now joining the chorus of voices demanding full disclosure. But why is NASA hesitant to release the images? What's at stake here? The answer lies not just in scientific discovery, but in global power dynamics. The release of definitive evidence that we're not alone in the universe could have massive societal implications. Could it spark a global crisis of faith? Could it challenge national security protocols? How would the public react if we knew that advanced civilizations, or even probes, were actively observing us? As 3I Atlas continues its approach to Earth, the world holds its breath. Within days, we'll know if this object is just a strange rock, a piece of interstellar debris, or a harbinger of something more extraordinary. By December 19th, as 3I Atlas passes Earth at a safe distance, 45 million kilometres, we'll have definitive data. Will 3I Atlas fragment? Will it emit more jets? Will it reveal its true purpose? The data collected by ground-based telescopes, space telescopes, and radar systems will determine everything. And while Loeb and the Galileo project remain hopeful for a breakthrough, the truth might be far more elusive. But here's the most terrifying thought. What if 3I Atlas doesn't just pass by, but instead deliberately slows down to observe us? Is this alien technology? Or something far more sinister? We're on the verge of something monumental. Something that could change the course of human history. Will we be the first generation to encounter intelligent life beyond our planet? Or will 3I Atlas pass through without a trace, leaving us to wonder what it could have been? One thing is certain. We're closer than ever to answering the question that's haunted humanity for centuries. Are we alone? If you're as fascinated by this story as I am, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because we'll be bringing you updates as soon as the data is released, and everything could change after December 19th. Leave a comment below. What do you think will happen when 3I Atlas passes Earth? And remember, we're just getting started. The mystery of 3I Atlas is only beginning. Thanks for watching. Stay curious and stay tuned for the next chapter in this incredible cosmic story.